Hello, hello, hello. Slots and Sprues. Back with a kind of track update. As you can see, I've got two cars going, two ghost cars going round. I've got a bit of a dilemma. So my original track contained a hairpin, and that hairpin, if I wanted to race the Arc Pro AI cars, as it were, or the computer control cars, their whole lap would be governed in how they could take that hairpin, which wasn't a major issue. But I also was getting a bit frustrated with that hairpin. I didn't particularly like it. So I was trying to think of ways to make the layout more smooth running, and incorporate larger radius bends at each end and get rid of the tight R1 corners rather than R2, the tight R1 hairpins. So I've built this track, and although it flows well, it's not exciting to drive around, and the way I've built it, half of the track is kind of hidden. So I think the scope for me, because half of this hobby for me is building the track and getting scenery done, and the car collecting. So along with my plastic model making side that I'm doing as well, which is more, which is the more creative, model making kind of thing. I want to be creative on this track and build this track out. So that's my focus. I'm not really into racing and how fast I can go and getting the best out of the car and all that shenanigans. If you do that, that's great. Fill your boots with that. I'm going to leave the magnets in the cars. I ain't going mad with them. I just want to have an AI race with two cars and myself, or if one of my friends comes around, two of us can race against the AI cars. For my track, that's fine. That's plenty. Um, but I'm just in a dilemma as to whether I want the hairpin in it or not. Or so what I'm doing, I'm going to show you this track now with the cars running around it, and then over the course of today and maybe tomorrow morning, I'm going to rebuild it to another configuration that has the hairpin in it, maybe with a slightly different. When I've managed to extend, I've managed to nick a bit of space, a bit more length out of the cabin, so I can extend it a bit, which might make it a little bit more palatable. But with the hairpin, I've got more track exposed. I can see more of the track, and with this layout, you can't see a lot, and I think it's going to limit me with scenery and building and such what. So I'm going to stop this bit here, flip the camera around, and we'll look at the track, how it is now, and then I'll rebuild it, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at it with the rebuild, and then I'm going to say to people, comment below what you prefer, because I think I'm a bit indecisive, so I'm going to need some help. Right, let me flip it round. Right, so as you can see, I've got a couple of cars just chugging around, nothing spectacular. I've got this R2 radius bend up here, upper and lower. I've printed some 3D track wall edgings, but I've printed them with solid. But slightly thinner, so they're more pliable. They obviously will be painted and stuck in at some point. I've also built these inner portions to support inside. I've got the other track supports, whatever I've got. I've got some track barriers here. I've got some external R2 radius ones rather than the scalextric ones. I don't like the curbing on the scalextric ones, and that for various bits and pieces that I've printed off. And then again, I've got two R2 radius curves up here again. But again, a lot of this track is covered. This Aston Martin's not loving life, is he? Let's give him a boost. So you can't really see anything. And if I want to build on it, I've got my mountain back over there. I started sort of putting that back in. I put my roadside calf back in. But although the flow's better, I'm just not feeling. I've got my thumb in the way. Just not feeling it. Just not feeling it. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to completely dismantle it again, and then we're going to rebuild it with the R1 hairpin in it, and see where we go from there. I think that's going to be the way forward. Right, once I take it apart, I'll just show you that a bit more close up on these 3D printed stuff I've done. I mean, it's all experimental. We're just seeing how it goes. Anyway, let's get dismantling again. Right, so track has been dismantled again. Now to try and build the new track. For everyone to make a vote on. So these are some of the things I've 3D printed. So these are the corner outside edges. They've got the little tabs on them, so they click at the bottom and at the top. On their own, they're not very strong, but obviously when you combine them with the actual track together and the insides as well, they're pretty rigid. So eventually they will be painted and probably stuck on the underneath on the bottom. With a bit of hot glue maybe, because although it'll hold it, hot glue you can just peel off, can't you? These are some of the bridge supports. Sometimes I have them that way round, and sometimes I have them that way round. They work quite well. They give me, I think they give me 6.5mm clearance, which is near enough all right for all Scalextric cars, apart from I think the truck and the Mr. Bean. I think everything else fits underneath. These are my barriers. Again, they clip under. That one's broken. They're not using much of them. These are my track supports. They just help support a bit of the sag sometimes. These are my going to go up that end because they're obviously filled in and they're slightly thinner. These are like 2 mil maybe, and they're like 3.5mm maybe. These are a bit more flexible, and they're going to block all the back of that where you don't see it. These are the stronger bridge supports, but that one's bowing a bit. I'm not keen on them, but they do for now. So once everything's in place, I'll replace these with a different. I'm not happy with it running underneath the tracks. We'll work something out with them. These are the corner bits I made for the inside of the R2s. So these are inside R2 3D printed borders. So I've stuck 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, bent that round, give it a little tiny bit of heat, don't give it too much, or the sports here buckle. And then I've stuck on just some of these. I did it on every single one of these. The other one I didn't do it, and it is very sturdy indeed. So obviously that again, if I use them, they will be painted. They will be painted up. That's just an inside R2 curb printed off to see. That's solid. That come out quite well. These are some external R2 borders. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not because they're not as tight a fit as the Scalextric ones. But I don't like the Scalextric border curb. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to go to the car spare shop and get some flexible body filler and see if I can just fill them curbs in. Take the red and white curb out and fill it in. This is a bigger version of that I did for a bit more sturdiness. Because my plan was eventually to join these all up, maybe. Because I want to build like a bridge kind of effect at the back, and I thought these might look good as concrete columns or something. Could work. But that's all the stuff I'm kind of experimenting with at the moment. So I'm getting. I only use Tinkercad. It's quite a basic piece of software, really. So I could just manipulate basic shapes, like the curve. It won't put the curve in this. You'd have to go into Blender or something else to get that curve, and that, to learn Blender or any one of them. I haven't really got the time. So I've just gone around doing the basics, really. At some point I might try and learn to be a bit more advanced, but for now it does me simple stuff. Right, so let me get on with trying to rebuild this track and see what we come up with back after. Right, okay, I've rebuilt the track. I've left the Arc Pro cars doing their thing. The Michael Knight Ford Mustang has had two incidents on the chicane, not the chicane, sorry, the hairpin. So I've slowed him down a notch, but I think he must have got hit by the Aston Martin. But apart from that, the Aston has not skipped a beat. At 626 laps he's done, hasn't come off once. I've adjusted the speed up and down a bit on them both, just to get where I'm happy, but generally they're just going round, enjoying life. So I think this is definitely going to be the layout. I'm not going to change it. I'd still have put comments in, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it like this because it's way more open. It's way more open, more scope for building and putting things on the track. You've still got loads of amendments. Got to cut the end off of that barrett shoulder. Got to make some amendments to the pit stop area. But it's all looking good. Hairpin now, doing all right. Not sure whether we're going to keep these two inner sections. This is the tunnel now. I think if we have an off in that tunnel, it's going to be hard to get the car out. Got the mountain area back in, needs work. Got rid of the suspension bridge thing because obviously I've got the side walls in there now, so I can build around there. I think the options are good now. The options are really good. And I think, stuck my old over there. I think the ability to build out now. Put the Arc Pro power over there. Doesn't really matter. I'll cover it up with something maybe when I build they're going to have houses and bridges across the back there. Need to stop talking about getting things done and start building. So there we go. I hope everyone likes. Well, I like it. It's probably all that matters really, isn't it? But I think it's a good day out. Really good layout. Works well for this small space. Options to build on. And now we've done 474 laps and 657, and they're going round lovely. They're going round lovely. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in the next one.